Hello everyone, welcome to the Lions Review. Thought I'd do an update since there's been quite a bit happening since the last time I did a video on Heroquest. So Hasbro has recently announced the pre-order for Mage of the Mirror quest. You can see here they got everything lined out. Pretty much everything I showed in my last email from their Gen Con display that they had out. You can see everything that you're getting here. There's no really big surprises here. I mean, it's pretty much, again, what they had laid out and shown at Gen Con. So you're getting those ogres. I think there's 33 miniatures. Well, that also includes the furniture. So keep that in mind. You can see that the mirrors they did, if I can zoom in on that part, I guess I can't, but the mirrors, they are keeping as the cardboard punch out, and then you'll get the plastic stands for those. You'll kind of see them down here. I can't zoom in over it, but right above where it says pre-order, you on the right top part, you will see one of those stands. So just like the old door stands that we used to have for it. So again, no really big surprises on what they're giving us in this Mage in the Mirror pack. Is on pre-order right now, $45. If you go through the process, it will tell you that, or actually it tells you right here at the bottom, January 31st of 2023 is the approximate ship date for these items. I was hoping they would do a little bit more with the mirrors, but they're keeping it old school. They'll punch out with the board bases. And then as far as the furniture goes, you're really receiving more alternative than anything else. You know, just the throne, the chest, everything is just a alternative to what you got in the main box, with the exception, of course, with the portcullis, the ones that were introduced in Mage of the Mirror. Now, those they did make plastic instead of cardboard punch outs, so they did make an update there. So that is what I have for that. Now, I also wanted to touch on the app. So let me get into the companion app right now. So what they've done in the app, they've actually done a couple of updates since last time. The Frozen Horror was introduced, but then there was a bug for switching between Quest 9 and 10, which is a dual quest. So when you go down the staircase in Quest 9, you start the board for Quest 10. You would lose heroes and the mercenaries depending on the turn order. There was also this issue with the buttons being blank, so you had no text on the button to tell you what you were pressing. You just had to hope it was something good. And it looks like they fixed some of that, not 100%, but some of it. So I'll get into that. Now, the other thing they've done, if I click new here, you're going to see they add the rogue and the knight to your heroes. Now, this is rolling out. I saw this mentioned yesterday, but I didn't have the update available to me until today, this morning. So if you don't have it yet, just keep checking, and it should be out there available to you eventually. So if you have the knight, now you can add them into your party. The same with the rogue. So there you go for those characters. I know a lot of people were probably hoping they would eventually do that, so they got around to it. The other thing that they had, which I don't think they had out yet at the point of my last video that I did. Okay, let's do this. Is the online quest Into the North. Is now, or Into the Northlands, is now available to play.
Heed well my words, for your journey north has already been
I'm just going to jump into it.
For this solo quest.
So remember, it is a solo quest, so you get to select one hero. I thought I had selected one. I guess I didn't click on my default party here. Let me go back and do this. There we go. Yeah, now it should work.
Select
there you
a
go.
Hero for this solo quest.
Kind of funny that you can go in there without having a party selected, but here you have it. So you can select your hero. and it will automatically add the wolf ally to it as well.
An animal ally has joined your quest.
And, you know, I say you can use that extra tile that was in the base game. If you got a 3D printer, you can print up your own, or you know, you can just get your own miniature. And then you can just go right into that quest. I'm not going to do it. Don't want to do any spoilers here, other than what I've already shown. But that quest is now available to you.
Until we meet again, take care, my friends. Farewell.
So one thing that I mentioned again is in the Frozen Horror, when you get to the last quest, down here at the Heart of Ice.
Now that each hero may hire and control mercenaries for this quest.
You could, of course, hire the mercenaries. What I've found is that when you have hired mercenaries and you go from quest 9 to quest 10, you lose them. So I'm going to give that a try now, and we'll see how that's working. It started working in the last update they did, but it was still kind of oddballish, where if everyone didn't exit at the same time, you would lose a hero and or mercenaries. So I'm going to test that out this time. Last time I tested just a few minutes ago, it actually swapped the mercenaries, which is odd. I purposely left 2 behind after the last hero went on the staircase. The 2 I left behind were the ones that were on the next board. The 2 that I didn't leave behind were gone. So it's a bit weird, and we'll have to see how all this works out. So give me a moment. I'm not going to make you sit here through all this, and I'll show that. Just a heads up, there's going to be a bit of a spoiler in this because, of course, you're going to see the board. So if you don't want to see where their staircase is going from 9 to 10 in this quest, then you may want to stop watching now. So again, spoiler alert for the next section. Okay, so now we're going to move these guys down the staircase onto the next level. So we'll start with a barbarian and pay attention to the mercenaries they have. So the barbarian, you'll see, has the scout. So let's move her here. Have her exit, and then we're going to have her scout exit. Then we move on to the dwarf. This time I'm going to move the dwarf through, but I'm going to leave the crossbowman that was the mercenary for the dwarf behind. We're going to move the elf and the halberdier that was the elf's mercenary. Now what you'll notice is the wizard's turn. If the wizard moves before the mercenary, the wizard leaves, but the mercenary does not. So we do this, it takes us to the next level right after you do it. So keep that in mind. So now if you're paying attention, you know the barbarian had a scout and not a crossbowman. You can see the crossbowman that was left behind, that was the dwarf's mercenary, is now with the barbarian. The dwarf now has another mercenary, the swordsman, who was also left behind, who somehow ended up as the dwarf's mercenary. The elf, who had the halberdier that was not left behind, doesn't have a mercenary, so the halberdier has vanished. And the wizard who left behind his swordsman, now does not have a mercenary, which would be correct, except that there should be a halberdier here, there should be no mercenary here, and she should have the scout, not the crossbow. So the 2 that got left behind ended up coming and switched their respective heroes that had them. The 2 that were supposed to have continued down into this level are now gone. So now let's try moving them back up. Just give me a minute here. All right, for this test, let's just try something different. So we have the barbarian exit first. We'll leave the crossbowman behind this time. We'll have the dwarf go through. Bring along the swordsman. The elf, we're actually going to let the elf stay behind just to see what happens. And then we're going to move the wizard. I don't know if it's has to do with it whether or not there's a Zargon turn or not, but I know sometimes the heroes were getting left behind if they didn't move on the same turn. So let's go back here and see what happens if we move this crossbowman. If it will let me. There we go. And then move the elf out. And see what we get on the next level. Ah, interesting. So there you have it. Still not working quite correct, as now I'm just down to my dwarf and my wizard, and neither one has the mercenary with him. So the barbarian disappeared and the elf disappeared. The two mercenaries disappeared. The ones that were left behind are no longer there, so who knows where they went. So they still haven't quite fixed this yet. So it might be kind of hard to use this app if you're playing the Frozen Horror. You get to the last section, you're probably just going to have to play it old school without using the app. Maybe you can use it for the first part of it, but the second part, as far as I know, there's not a way to go in here and say, to the app, hey, you screwed up, I need to add the hero that you removed. I don't see any way to do that. So until Avalon Hill, Hasbro fixes this, the app is not going to be useful for the last quest that you have in Frozen Horror. So we have that. We had the release of the release of the Mage of the Mirror, and then of course the other thing that we had is another tease, I guess you can call it.
Until we meet again. Take care, my friends.
I should have left that for the end of the video. But so the tease of the other box quest is going to be Rise of the Dread Moon. That has been confirmed. What has not been confirmed is exactly what type of quest that's going to be. Looks like it may be another knight hero introduced into there. Maybe that's their way of getting the knights reintroduced, because the first one again was more of a exclusive. And now that they added the knight into this app as one of the heroes that could be played, maybe they're just going to they found a way to do it legally to reintroduce the knight without having any legal issues with the exclusive they previously did. And it also raises the question whether or not they're going to look to do something similar with the other three heroes, the Bard, the Druid, and the Warlock. Of course, we're not even sure what this new quest is going to be yet. It was just teased. It's probably not going to be out until after Mage of the Mirrors, obviously, if they're already doing pre-orders for Mage of the Mirror. Whatever the Rise of the Dread Moon is going to be, we probably won't know until later this year or early next year, when they introduce a little bit more, tease a little bit more of what's going to be included in that quest pack. They're a bit exciting to see them doing something new, as well as mixing it in with the older items that they're just redoing. And even with the older items that they've redone, they've added little touches here and there. I like the dice with the Frozen Horror. Now we got new furniture with the Elven Quest, or I guess you can say the Mage of the Mirror. So it'll be interesting what they do with this, what appears to be a quest for the knight, or a way to introduce the knight. So until next time, take care, and I'll talk to you all again soon, hopefully. Bye-bye.